doing the little things right in the fourth quarter, and you maybe have some aha moments. Like any of you all that have kids, there's going to be a time at some point where they're like, oh yeah, oh you're right. Well yeah, but you got to learn some hard lessons along the way. So, but I think there was some of that, some aha moments that, oh yeah, if we do these little things, we can stop people in the pass. We can be good on defense, and I think that spilled over to the bye week, and then we played really physical. We strained, and I thought we executed at a high level on Saturday. John.
What has kept Haycock above the curve, I guess? I mean, you've studied this defense. He's been around for 10 years. It's kind of like pulling teeth. Why has he been able to stay ahead of the curve?
That's a question you'd have to ask him. You got
to prepare for it.
Yeah, we've played against him. I don't know him personally.
Yeah.
Got a lot of respect for him from his coaching perspective. I think what happened, like this is my opinion, when you're in a system that you've been in for a long time, you're always tweaking, but you're able to have answers. And that's something I tell our young coaches a lot. Okay, they'll have a great play. I'm like, okay, but what if they do this? Because you got to have an answer. You got to have a counter. And he's got great answers. If you look at their stats, they're, really since we started playing them, I know this, they're a lot better statistically in the second half than the first half. And that tells me because of coaching, they're able to fix things that offenses are maybe taking advantage of them. The other thing too, I think that's as offenses have become more multiple and there's more pre-snap movement and stuff, when you play that front, there's not a whole lot of box movements. And so there's not as many moving pieces with that group as there is with some others. But, just playing against him, he stays steady. I would say, I don't know this, but I would assume that, I think he's got some good people helping him, like on game day and in game prep mode, because they have good answers.
Conversely, as a play caller, you have to have answers to those answers.
Yeah, it's a chess match. That's kind of the fun part of it, right? This is a game that you get excited about just because they're so good on defense and he's so good. No question.
Wyatt talked about feeling like the offensive line clicked this past week going into the Oklahoma State game. Would you agree with that assessment, and what maybe did you notice different in them leading up to the game collectively?
I think the chemistry in that room has been pretty good all year. I think what you're seeing is Brandon Yates getting more comfortable at center. It's a tough position to play, and there's a ton of communication into it. When a team has multiple fronts like Oklahoma State. And so I think you're seeing the maturation of him playing center, and that's helped the entire offensive line. I would say that as much as anything. I think there was a lot of confidence in our plan last week because we were able to do different things, but it was the same picture for the offensive line. I think anytime you can do that, it gives them an advantage. And so, but as far as how they've prepared, that room really over the last couple of years, man, have done it at a really high level.
His efficiency, but what are some other things that you see in Rocco Beck that are allowing him to play as special as he is right now?
Well, I think he's highly intelligent, and they do a lot of things offensively, and you can only do what your quarterback allows you to do, and they do a bunch of things. And I think that he does a really good job manipulating safeties with his eyes. He's got good touch on the ball. I think he's a sneaky runner, man. He's a good athlete, and what he does, he extends plays. I saw a deal where they were comparing him to Brock Purdy, which I don't think it's ever fair to compare anybody to anybody. I don't think that's – but when you watch him, like, he's operating that offense very similar. They're operating very similar to how they did when he was there, which is a huge compliment to Rocco. He's keeping plays alive. He's just doing a nice job. And you can tell he's playing with a lot of confidence too.
Watcher during the game, but I did notice Livingston. What was your thoughts of him when he got in there?
Yeah, did a nice job. I mean, you could talk this, like we talk about this a lot, man, is next man up, and you better be ready so you don't have to get ready. And I think there's a lot of examples of that. If you think about it, Landon goes in, and we go down on a touchdown drive, and it wasn't just like a one play. It was 6, 7, 8 plays, and he played and executed and did a nice job. And I think that and we have confidence in him. Nico comes in, and he threw a touchdown and we went on a touchdown drive. He didn't have to get ready. He was already ready. I think Boyce on defense, he had to play 21 snaps, I think, on defense. And made one critical error, but other than that, played pretty solid. And so I think that just speaks to, and again, coming off a bye week where guys like that got a bunch of reps, I think that's helpful also.
Yeah, what did Kikora give you? Was that a bit of a surprise?
Who'd you say? I'm sorry.
Kikora, Tarnu.
Oh, yeah, Tarnu. All right. KK's much easier. All right. So, here's what he did. So during the bye week, we started playing him at Spear, and he's got flexibility. So if you go back, he's kind of had an interesting career, but he's had an interesting career, but through his career, he's played nickel, he's played corner, and he's played safety. And so he played safety here early, but he's got good coverage skills. And so, if you remember versus Kansas, we really got stuck in having to play 3 corners, and they hurt us in the run game with that. So we wanted to get another bigger body if Aubrey got hurt again, which he unfortunately did, and he'll be back this week. But KK was able to go in there, and we were able to do the exact same stuff that we did with Aubrey. And I thought for his first game at that position, he practiced for 2 weeks, and for his first game, made one mistake that really hurt us. Other than that, I thought he performed well, and he'll continue. I think he's played himself in a position to continue to play.
I know Crandall didn't play much. Did he finish the game or did he come out?
No, he played.
Okay.
Yeah, Crandall played. He played on special teams, and he played in the second half on defense. He didn't practice much last week. I think he started practicing maybe Wednesday or something like that.
All the intangible stuff, like Jaheim said, everybody's more familiar, they're more comfortable. You mentioned just kind of simplifying things, but
You talking about Jaheim Joseph?
just secondary.
Yeah.
Sorry. So that's how it's supposed to shape what's happening on the field. What's fundamentally football-wise better as far as the plays that are happening or aren't happening for that matter?
Well, so in the run game, we've played pretty, I would say, above average with the exception of the Kansas game. All right. And some of that was because we just played a light box. And so, but we played the run well. I think that we've tackled well for most of you. Now, we tackled at another level on Saturday, but we've tackled pretty well heading into that game. Coverage-wise so when you do this, regardless of what zone coverage you're playing, is you've got certain and I've said this before, you got certain landmarks, you got certain depths, and then there's different rules built in, whether you're condensed, whether it's teams extra wide, whether you have crossers, et cetera. You have to have some built-in rules. And so I think as we've simplified, what we've done is we've got a better understanding what those rules are. We're executing those rules, and we're doing a better job of getting to our landmarks at our depths. And so it's kind of boring, but that's really the reason why we're playing better.
You're seeing the ball better as a result because you dropped interception, but you guys
We
are making
did.
plays
So
too.
part of it is, and we may, as the year progresses, it may even be this week, get back to where we're playing some more man coverage, which we did earlier in the year. But what that did is really hurt us on quarterback scrambles, and we didn't have vision on balls. So when you play zone, you have vision on the football, and so we do have more eyes. That's a fair assessment, but we got to make those plays.
With an 8 o'clock game, what's the head coach's day like?
On game day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do. So we'll start everything a little bit later. You can't just let them sleep in as late as they probably would like. So we'll usually get up and go by 9 or so. We'll staff meet, and then we'll do a breakfast, and then we'll come over here to the IPF and do our walkthrough and kind of move around a little bit more because it's such a late start. Usually we just stay at the hotel. We'll probably come over to the IPF and do a stretch and do our special teams and our offense and defense walkthrough. We'll go back to the hotel, get a light lunch, and then we'll give them about 3 or 4 hours downtime. And then we'll do our pregame meal, team meet, and do the man trip, and get ready to go. It's just longer, you know what I mean? I try to exercise at some point. We'll have a bunch of recruits here, I'm sure, so I'll do some visiting with them. But the later games, I'd really kick them all off at 11 or 12 because I can have a normal day after that. But I think our fans like the 8 o'clock better, and it is good to have some night games. But I say that in jest some. But it's not. It's really not a whole lot. It's not a whole lot different for me. You get some downtime right in the middle of the day. Everything's hurried up. The earlier you play, man, it's hurry. It's a hurry up mode. So it's a little bit calmer day when you play at night.
Which doesn't leave you, the iPad or the phone?
Neither. I'm not like. usually by the time I'm thinking about some things for the quarterback on Saturday as far as from an offensive perspective, but we're not, I'm not sitting there watching what they're doing on Friday or Saturday. It's kind of done by then. The phone, I'll watch a little bit of some games, especially if it's people we're going to play. But I'm not sitting there watching the pregame shows or anything.
Speaking of Green, just where is he now for you? More mistakes through the first 4 games than probably you would have liked, but it seems like the last 2 games certainly there's a difference in his confidence and play.
Yeah, I think he didn't play very well versus Penn State, which I stated. He was fine. He played pretty well against Albany. I think that's the best completion percentage he's had. And then the Pitt game, which is kind of up and down. He wasn't as accurate, but he made some good decisions. He made some plays, especially in that third quarter. He made a bunch of plays. And then the Kansas, he went in to win, really in that fourth quarter, he was special. And he really, y'all don't see this, but he made some checks and stuff in the game, some run checks and some protection checks in that game on Saturday that were really good to see from a quarterback that's maturing. I thought his decisions when to run and when not to run were good, and he was accurate with the ball, with the exception of 2 go balls, and it was windy. I don't know if y'all could tell that on TV, but it was pretty windy there. So I'm pleased with his progression. I think his best is still out there.
Point this out. I mean, your players weren't aware of this, but this is the third 5-0 team on your schedule. Obviously, you're aware of that, right?
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I think, but the thing that I think about is I'm disappointed that we didn't, the Pitt game was winnable and we didn't win it. I'm disappointed that we didn't play very well versus Penn State, but we're not going to go back and they won't allow us to play them again, So it's kind of water under the bridge and kind of on to the next, and we got a bunch of really good teams on the schedule. But
The flip of it is it's a good schedule. I mean, good, solid, outstanding.
oh yeah, we're
opponents.
playing good people.
Yeah,
we're playing good people. I don't know if anybody cares. If you're 5-0, we don't play anybody. All that matters is you're 5-0. I mean, that's the truth. But the thing that it does is our guys aren't going to blink in these games. They're not going to blink. It's kind of this is kind of just the next really good football team we play. And so our guys, when we start talking about the next opponent, whether it's Iowa State or Kansas State or Arizona or whoever's after that, is they're like, oh, okay, they're going to be really good. Well, just like the other teams we played, so our guys aren't going to blink, and it kind of is what it is. And we just got to get ready. We got to get healthy, and we got to get mentally and physically ready to go for Saturday night.
For nerves or anything this time, because you said you didn't see the Penn State game.
Yeah,
Right?
Here's the thing: all the other stuff that was around that game, we're just not going to allow that for this one, and just kind of put our blinders on and go. I think when things don't go right, which obviously didn't go right for us Penn State wise, you got to go back and really evaluate, and so we probably made some decisions going into that weren't in the best interest for some guys, as far as I'm just talking about exposure and things like that. So kind of minimize the distractions this week and just go about playing football.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you.